What's up, everybody? Theo, Seaside Metal Design. Today we are going to do a little etching, or actually annealing, on some titanium. So I have a customer, or rather a friend of mine I met, I don't know, 15, 20 years ago. Guy builds killer titanium frames, exhaust systems, all kinds of cool titanium parts for Ducatis mainly, but I believe he does other makes as well. Anyhow, he asked me if I could put a etching mark on a titanium pressure plate for a Ducati dry clutch. So we're going to do that now. I'm going to show you the settings that I use. They may be different from your machine, so you may need to play around with them. They seem to work pretty good for 2 passes to get a nice dark mark that's anodized. If you want to get real deep into it, you would need to passivate it, I believe. Somebody can comment and let me know if I'm wrong there, but if you want to ensure that it's not going to corrode, you probably would passivate it at some point, like if it was for medical industry or something like that. So anyway, excuse the messy garage. This is the laser shop, and those are cup inventories. So we've got a lot of cups, and then I'll be doing some videos here in the next week or so that are to give you a tour of our shop, how we operate. Don't have any secrets. You know, does it look like the inside of an operating room? Absolutely not. Does it look like a F1 garage? Nope, it sure doesn't. It's dirty, it's dusty. It's the real world. I'm not going to hide anything from you or try and make it seem like it's not something it's not. But we have been pretty successful over the last 4 or 5 years, and I think it's time I can start showing that kind of stuff and maybe helping somebody out. So anyway, that's a gantry CO2. There's the fiber behind us that we're going to use, and then there is a Galvo CO2, which is kind of a neat thing. But anyway, I've run my yap enough. I'm going to flip the camera around, put it in a tripod, and we're going to mark some titanium. So I have a rudimentary camera set up. That's your clutch plate. That'll give you an idea about how big it is. And I'm going to zoom in here so you can see the mark that it is going to make. This is real time, and this is only get one shot at this. So let's see how it goes. So I already see a problem. Obviously you do too. It doesn't look like a black mark to me. Funny, because I have a test piece here that I got a nice black mark. But we'll have to make some adjustments here and see what we can do. So I'll just let it run and see maybe when it does the crosshatch if it'll darken up, and it doesn't look like it's going to. It's starting to. Randy, don't kill me if you have to machine the face of this down, and we'll try again. But I have a sneaking suspicion if I run it a couple more times, or maybe with just a smidge more power. I'm only running 20% power and 200 on the speed. I think we can darken this thing up. All right, so I'm going to make an adjustment. I'm not going to move the camera But I'm going to make a slight adjustment to the line spacing, tighten it up just a little bit. And I'm going to add 5% more power, 25, and we're going to run it again. Let's see. And that is kind of what we're looking for when it goes for the crosshatch pass. I think it's going to darken up nicely. Basically, it will orient. You can see how it's oriented from the bottom up, maybe on a 45-degree bias. When it crosshatches, it'll flip whatever setting I have in there, which I believe is 45 degrees. So it'll basically mark at a 45-degree bias to what it's done there. But that's more along the lines of the effect we're looking for. I'd like it to be even darker, like the dots of the eyes there. But let's see what happens when it moves and does the crosshatch. Yeah, and that's starting to darken up nicely up top there. So not an exact science, guys. Now, if we're making 100 of these things, we'll get the settings down, we'll make a jig, we'll put them in there, and we'll let it eat. And that's no big deal. But titanium's not something we mark on often. And despite the fact, and I'll show you the piece of scrap, despite the fact that I used a piece of scrap, titanium, to get the settings right, it doesn't always translate over precisely. So that's going to look really nice, and I just peeked at it from the side around the camera. Don't do that unless you have a set of glasses on that are specific to the wavelength of your laser. I think fiber is 1068, but don't take that for gospel and blind yourself. But anyway, I peeked over it at the side, and quite often when you anodize the surface, the dark mark will appear much darker when you're looking straight at it as opposed to an angle. Somebody may comment, if you do, I appreciate it, but comment on why that is. I don't know. I'd be interested to find out. So let's see when it's all done here. I'm going to pick the camera up. And I don't want to move it just yet because I'm not sure if I might run it again. Now you can see the test piece that I did right there. See how much darker that is. You know what? I'm going to leave it. I hope Randy likes it. I think the strata is nice and dark. There we go. Now you can see what it looks like. So we're going to pick it up, and we can't put it back down again because we won't be able to index it. Anyhow. Okay, so that was a little bit of anodizing on a titanium pressure plate for Ducati, dry clutch. That's the kind of videos we're going to start putting out. Just real stuff. It's a real shop. It's real dirty. Occasionally, I'm not going to pretend to be somebody we're not. We're just going to show you who we are. Appreciate any input. Like, subscribe, share. Please share. Get this out there because I know there's other folks like me that are out there that will be happy to chime in and share a bunch of info. There are some that don't want to, and that's okay. But you know, there's enough for everybody. So anyhow, it's been fun. Stay tuned for the next one, maybe a week or so. All right, thanks. See ya.